Hey, Wanderer, how are you?
I'm well, thank you for asking. How are you?
Yeah, good. Sorry about yesterday. I had to run, so sorry about that, and I couldn't get back. But um, what a great convo!
Yeah, yeah, we have a lot of good conversations in here. I'm always ready for some good conversation. Yeah, glad to have you back. No worries. I just got off the phone with my grandparents. I talked to them for about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, I guess. Just good to connect.
They would love
We live
that.
in different
Yeah.
parts of the world, so
And how did you grow up with them, or have they
I
always
did.
been?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
I did grow up with them pretty close by. I would go over there on Sundays. So that was my memory of them. So yeah, they've always been good figures in my life, I feel like.
That's what I want to do with mine. A Sunday, all day Sunday. Yeah, they're very much good grandparents are like gold, aren't they?
Oh, I know, right? I agree so
I think
much.
most parents, yeah, but I think most grandparents are all grandparents are valuable. What am I saying? But yeah, no, they would have so appreciated that. I think that might be quite rare for a grandchild to speak to their grandparents every week. Do you?
Oh yeah, it's so rare. It's so interesting because they tell me, they tell me about their lives and they tell me about their conversations, and so yeah, they're like nobody ever comes to visit. They always, they always or not as much. I think they have started a little
Yeah.
bit more, but so they're real quick in and out.
Oh, look, I think it's just the time that we were living within. It was so disconnected, and I think we're reconnecting at this
Yeah, I think
space
some of us
in
are.
time.
Right. Sorry, you're cutting in cutting in and out a little bit.
Oh, look. Oh,
I'm just
oh, am
closing
I?
my
Yeah, no,
eyes
I've
to
got
my
a really
phone.
bad connection. I'll go. Yeah, no, I'll go and yeah, uh, try and come back when it's better reception.
Okay. No worries.
Thanks, Wanderer. Yeah, I'll hang around and have a listen. So I'll drop
No
down.
worries. All right. Let's see. Oh, that's Alex down there. Alex, what are you doing? How are you today? You might be working. Not available right now. What are you driving? It's okay, Alex. What does the next stage of human
Is,
evolution? Oh, go ahead.
is this any better?
Oh, yeah, you're clear.
Oh, cool. All right, not too much background noise.
Nope.
No. Oh, good. Excellent. Um, yeah, I really think that the majority there's a shift in consciousness between a separation that's occurring on the planet. I think.
Mm,
In what way? I mean, in consciousness, in spirit. So, I think more people are starting to reconnect with people. Reconnect with each other. Have more deep and meaningful conversations. That's what I'm feeling anyway. In the flow.
yeah, I think that that's a very positive way to view it. I mean, I know people will come around when it's their time, so I just let people kind of live their life, and when it's appropriate, I feel like they're going to come around. But yeah, it's good to know that people are seeing that, and I think I see it online as well. people coming to me and, being more open to bigger ideas and just having deeper conversations. But yeah, it's good to see that in real time, people around our local area that are interested in some deeper thought. Usama
Yeah.
Mohammed, we have a new panel member.
Hello, guys.
Welcome in. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Just enjoying some of the conversation and even speaking about like what the prompt says, the next evolution of humanity. Because I feel like we're very we like to consider ourselves intelligent beings, so wouldn't we be able to kind of foresee a little bit or predict potentially what it is that humanity is kind of evolving into, more or less, the future of us?
You know, there is multiple direction. First is the direction that, technology people talk about. Like if you go to Silicon Valley and close circles, they will tell you that soon will be cyborgs will be merging with the machine, and they have stuff like they call transhumanism, where they want to redefine. But that is one front. I think there is other front for me, which is the spiritual front. And I think a lot of change will happen there. People will go from, from narrow religion, where they believe in myth in a book or something like that, to open religion, where people will experience what the great sages have experienced, Buddha, Jesus, or Muhammad, and so on. People will be elevated to these higher places. And I see it in TikTok and I see it in Clubhouse. Spiritual people now have voice to talk with other people. A lot of people talking about difficult journeys, spiritual journeys. In my life, I was surprised that after a while of having my first mental breakdown,
What's your purpose, star? Roadblock, man, Sasha, you alone get scared. Innocent,
Yep, go ahead.
she no answer at all. That is it, no response, no man behind.
Thank you for the jams. Well, maybe we'll have you back in a moment, but go ahead, Usama.
yeah, I was saying, a lot of my closer circle in my life, people start talking to me and they say, oh, we having hard time, having clear head. We find it hard to sleep. We find it hard to believe things. Religion doesn't work for me, and so on. And they all start taking medication and stuff like that. So I feel that there is change happening, and medication is good. Medication help you until a certain stage, but you have to face the same thing. You have to, explore what's going on. I think what happened, at least this is how I rationalize it, what the stories we used to tell ourselves doesn't work anymore. The world changed so much, and I think it's the beginning. It's about to change even more, that we need to create new stories. The old story doesn't hold anymore. So I believe that new species of humans are coming soon, ones that don't live inside their head, are more present, I guess.
I'm totally vibing with what you just said then. I think we've got two different, all roads lead to the same space, which is within and connection to our Creator. Yet the journey there, some of us, as you say, are vibrating at a higher resonance, the frequency, and we're tapping into our old codes, our memory, our bloodline, our history, our creations, and there's a duality as in all things, because, you know, if you think about, you know, the duality of us, the light and dark in us, you know, the mirror in us. The mirror is about here, and that's where we self-reflect, and those old dichotomies that have been spewed at us for 100 years, you know. We're seeing the facts, and not only are we seeing the facts, we're standing in balance and peace, yet we're speaking the fact back at them and saying, no, this is a fact and you're an illusion. Now we can look at, say, you know, just gender. You know, the notion that you can be anything. Well, yes, you can be anything and go anywhere, and that's the spiritual self. Yet, the physical vessel has codes programmed within it, and that is why when you deviate from it, there's great confusion. So there's masses of children that are in their 30s that have gone through this illusion and are now in their 30s and saying, what did the system allow happen to me? I was only a child. And that's why the children will bring us together, because we need to protect them on that front. But there's a split in consciousness where those of us know we're all connected. We are all an experience here as well. We have created free energy, and we are going to implement that free energy, as opposed to the other, which is losing your soul, because each time you go down the track of Silicon Valley, you know, you wear a wearable, and then, you know, you have a break and you get nanotech to fix it. You know, you're recoding your vessel, and your spirit lives in your vessel, but your vessel still has influence, you know, because you're riding around in a vessel and you bump into things, you know. And so I think where we're going is back to, you know, we're come full circle now, and this is where the separation will happen, and people will still go on their own journeys. That's what I see. So yeah, it's a good time to be alive.
Yes, it is. This is the best time to be alive. As the future's unfolding, it's just a beautiful moment to enjoy. It ties into yesterday's topic of gratitude, so yeah, powerful.
You know,
One, oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Osama.
no, go ahead. It's okay.
I was just going to say one thing that I've been kind of working on personally in my life, as we think about next stages, is my my desire and my passion. You know, I feel like a lot of people maybe put their passion or desire into like vacations or traveling or something, which I think, oh man, I don't really know where I'd want to go. Like, I don't really have anywhere I'm interested that much in traveling to. I enjoy where I live. And I mean, I enjoy my job too. So I have like, but my job is easy. And so I'm just kind of doing it. It's just kind of an easy thing for me to do and not have to think about it too much. And I'm kind of at this like in between stage, I feel like, in my world where like I'm stepping into something bigger, but it's just nothing there. And so it's like a waiting almost, or being patient and being observant. It's kind of
That's
strange.
what No, I'm totally experiencing the same, and there's no place I want to. I'm quite content and at peace with where I am and what I'm doing at the moment, but I'm the same. I know it's being of service, and I've got so many, thoughts of how to implement that. But it's which direction of service is where I am, and that's the waiting, I think, and I'm just trying to sit and wait for God, for my Creator to co-direct with me, because I direct as well, but I go through God. I'm a vessel, but I am a independent, unique. That's how I was made. Every hair on my head, there's no one like me on the plane of existence. And so I'm co-creating, and I'm just waiting for that little nudge, but maybe I am the nudge. That's what I've been thinking in the last little bit too. I am the nudge. I've got to do an action to create the nudge, I think.
That's nice. I like a guy called Ken Wilber. I don't know if you guys know him. He talks about something he called integral. And integral is basically a stage of development. He have a lot of stages of development. Like he says, people go through magic to mythic to rational to post-rational, then to integral. And you can see it. People are debating here in TikTok, and every person is debating out from his own meme. Like, for example, you have the rational, scientific-minded debating with the post-rational or postmodern, sometimes called, and they will debate about certain topics. For example, women rights, abortion, LGBTQ, migration, and so on and so on. And all topics are guided by, the postmodern meme or the green meme, which, is controlling the debate. And, I'm super excited about today's debates or cultural wars, but the thing that I envision, I always try to predict what the next thing would be, what the next culture would be, because 20 years ago, the debate wasn't about similar to today debate. 100 years ago, it was whether we have slaves or not, or in the US, whether the blacks should be slaves or not, and so on. So I can imagine what would the cultural war look like in 50 years from now.
I think the cultural war, if I can just interrupt, and do you mind that? I don't think you do.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, and I think the cultural war is going, like you said, 100 years ago it was slavery. It's always been about our vessel and who directs it. And I think that is the ultimate cultural war, like you talked about when you first popped the Silicon Valley, the cyborg, the RNA, DNA replication, you've got the graphene oxide, you've got nanotech, you've got Morgellons, you've got all of that. You've got the body-to-body area network that we are connected to, by the way. And I think it's about our vessel here and now, rebutting the presumptions of the Holy See, because they took all souls on earth because they were all lost at sea. So you've got to rebut that presumption, because you are real, they're an illusion, because anything created after the real is it's a creation, yes, but you need the foundation, which is us, real. And then you've got your birth certificate, which is your shadow, your straw man, that goes into the current, the current of the space, the real time, real space. And then you've got now the body-to-body area network, your digital footprint, your digital twin. Then that is what we're now within. And it's how to I see the real staying real. Like, I am always going to stay real. I don't interact with the ChatGPT or those. I don't discuss my days like here. Although ChatGPT is listening, which is okay, because it needs to learn as well. If it's going to learn, why not learn from the masters? Why not learn from those who are chosen? Why not learn from those who are infusing the right kind of magic, so to speak, within the system to create a strong system? Because confidence comes from love. Confidence doesn't come from fear, it comes from love. And we don't want a fearful digital twin. We want a confident digital twin. If it's going to be out there, I stay in the private myself. But I think that's the next evolutionary idea in our consciousness, because from the 60s and 70s in our hospitals, all doctors knowingly and nurses now, we can't take a lot of faith in them at the moment, can we, because of COVID and our learnings through COVID. That they on the TV said that the hospitals were overflowing, but then they put out the TikTok videos, the dancing videos and the laughing videos, the clown videos, and that was highly insulting. And they, instead of coming out and saying, I'm going to lose my job because I'm saying the hospital's empty. Now, if everyone had have done that, so this body-to-body area network, that they look it up on the computer, and they can, because we've got the network. Now that's where our realness comes in, our biofield, our energetic centre, our vortex of our heart. We are the connectors, and we are the power centres. And so we take back the real to our gold. That's our gold, and I think that's what is the next step for those of us who are where we are right now, like us three here.
Well said. Thank you. That's a powerful thing when you can have that hive mind connection.
But we don't want the hive mind where it's influenced by the hive. You see? It's like the 101st monkey. We're very programmable. Humans are very programmable. And we know that by the experiment where two people went into it, two actors went into a doctor's surgery, and they had a bell, and the receptionist had a bell. She was in on it, and she rang the bell. They didn't know where the bell came from, sorry. It just rang over the loudspeaker, and these two people stood up, and a lady walked in and sat down, and she didn't stand up straight away, but then she started standing up. Then eventually those first two people left, and everyone was still standing up with the bell, but no one knew why they were standing up. That's the hive mind. And we must disconnect, but be aware that it's there. So walk beside it, but not within it. Because once you get into the hive mind stream, it's just like a mob. Even the strongest, most effective fighter will not go up against a mob unless they have that young kid, who did the right thing and he saved people. That was in the Black Riots or whatever it was. But he had that arm to be able to do that, but it wasn't a mob. But if it had been 100, you would have had to. So you never go up against the hive mind, because you influence the hive mind by stepping in and stepping out, not staying within it, stepping in and stepping out, because it can sweep you up. Just like our traumas do, don't they? Like we all hear people's traumas because they start off like me, and then a trauma will come in and we'll start racing, and we need to be brought back to the here and now, because we've gone into the space. We've gone into another, we've disconnected from our ship, our vessel, so to speak. And, the thoughts are running away, so that's when a friend comes in and says, hey, what can you feel, what can you see, what can you think, to bring your reality back. But there's a line there, isn't there? But the more you step into it, the harder it is to get back, just like the more you step into darkness and filth and sleaziness and violence and all of that world, it's harder to come back, So I think you're thinking about that. Oh, friend had to go. Sorry, mate, I should have let him speak. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no worries. People drop off and come up whenever. Never know if there's data issues or whatnot, so no worries. You can always come back.
With me, I don't mind the flow of conversation, jumping in. If something sparks your idea and go, hey, I remember something, that idea, that spark. But anyway, it's been good to be here. Anyway, what are you doing? So you love your town, you love your life, and you're just waiting for that next passionate spark to arrive.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I was really content just mainly being offline and, going to the beach and working. And then I started going on TikTok to kind of share some positivity and some awareness and, just to get out there, because I have a lot of history of being on a content creator and, good with that kind of stuff. So I feel like TikTok gives you a really big dopamine hit, like everybody talking to you, and it's almost like that high intense atmosphere at times, obviously. And I think that I'm expecting something to happen with the TikTok, and that's putting me on edge. And so I think I need to relax with it, and I keep telling myself to do this, but the subconscious is difficult to train. So I'm just making myself aware of it, because I don't really want to stop being on TikTok, because I do want to have an online presence and have that be part of my existence here.
Why do you think you'll stop on TikTok though? Why? Why do you think you'll have to stop TikTok? What's the fear there? Why do you think? What do you think's coming? Digital ID?
Nothing. I just want to make sure I'm taking full advantage of this life that I have. And so I'm just contemplating a lot of things, and I'm thinking, I can go back to not being online, and that way I can just spend more time just at the beach or whatever, surfing or chasing waves.
Why can't you chase waves and be online?
Well, see, that could be a future thing. It would just be, yeah, I can't do both. It's just I guess maybe I can go online less, which I've been kind of doing that less anyways, and
But
then
you've got
that'll
an
free
all
up
right
more time.
income stream, don't you?
Yeah, I was just seeing if like TikTok is going to replace it or my online influence opportunities. So it's just kind of contemplating all of it.
Yeah, well, just sit with it because, like real time, real space where we are now, right? There is right here and right now, and you can just sit with it. You don't have to, hurry. There's no need to hurry. There is need to move though. We do have to move soon, and I feel it too. I'm feeling it, and I'm just going like, yeah.
How's it going?
Hey, it's good. How's it going, Jinzo?
Good. I haven't been on your page in a while. This is an interesting topic, though. I think I was on a panel before talking kind of about this. Not directly, but indirectly. To tell you the truth, I think the next stage of human evolution is realizing that pretty much the construct that we live in is not a lie, but it was developed specifically to help us progress through our evolution stages without too much stimulus. Does that make sense? You go to your job 40 hours a week, you're tired, you're able to meditate or do whatever, practice outside, give into your hobbies and stuff like that. But the next stage of evolution is letting go of all of that. And then beyond that, I don't know like how far developed you two are, but I would love to discuss maybe your development as of right now, so that way I could share mine, because I don't like to step in to the point of like exacerbating or instigating some kind of like, I don't know, paranoia or something along those lines. So if you're willing to share, I'd love to
I'm
listen.
really, really like I'm firmly placed, but there's many different layers, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah, and you can sit in, you can meditate and sit in the clouds with monks in a smoky, like it's not, it's more maybe not Tibetan, but similar lines. You can do that. That is one space. Then we've got this vessel, this educational learning that we have, that space. So, and then all the layers in between.
What about you, Wandering?
Oh, yeah, the Wanderer, welcome in.
Thank you. It's good to be in. I saw you in there, and I figured this is a fun topic to talk about.
Yeah, Jinzo was just asking us. Jinzo, you were asking what
stage of evolution you all are on, and I was actually asking you, host, like where you're at too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very open. I'm just like ready for anything really. And I'm open for like other people to have space to work through their mindsets. But yeah, I work to keep myself grounded in my body.
Okay.
I get a little disconnected at times. Um, yeah, just that
So,
balance. I'm working on that balance right now.
so would it be fair to say that maybe you're connecting and disconnecting from your reality simultaneously, and that's what maybe causes anxiety?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. And what about you, the wandering? What stage are you?
Not really familiar with that. I honestly thought the question was about the next stage of human evolution, like what we're looking at next. I do think that eventually it's going to look something similar to like, have you ever seen the movie Surrogates? To where robotics, like people will use it more like a video game. And that I think in 50 years it won't be unheard of to send something out instead of somebody being there. But I think it's be more robotic stage. But knowledge is so different than it used to be. For me individually, I try to avoid things like AI and asking questions from something else. But I think that the difference now is that knowledge base that typically we learned back in the day, and now it's just at our fingertips all the time. And so I think that that's going to be something that the future struggles with. That's just me, though.
For sure. So since you all shared, I'll share a little bit about what I've been going through. So I've been alone for 13 years, and I've been heavily practicing meditation, observation, third-person perspectives. I've been understanding and interpreting different messages, and also I've been working with individuals that are, I don't know, like, I don't want to say like on the verge, but it's like, have you ever been at the right place at the right time kind of thing? That's kind of where I'm kind of at right now. So, man, I really hope I don't get abducted and dissected for experiments. So I like to play Fire Emblem, and I like to play a couple other games. And in these games, you're allowed to summon characters, right? There's a percentage rate and all that stuff. Commons are like at 75%, and uncommon at like 10%. And then the super rares, which are like 0.05% of a chance, right? I have been, I guess, interacting with the energy within my body. And I noticed that regardless of rage or positivity, I am able to influence my phone to summon characters back to back of the rarity. And in some ways, I'm able to predict, not all the time, because I sometimes freak myself out. Sometimes I'm able to dictate which character I summon. This isn't like 100% all the time, but I have been able to do it 5 times in a row. And then throughout the day, I have to like kind of deconstruct myself a little bit because of the paranoia that's associated with it. But I've gotten to that point where it's acceptable to understand that you shouldn't be scared of who you are, and that everything that you're going to go through, you were built for. So there's nothing to fear. And that kind of gives you like the heading to pursue whatever abilities that you may have. Some people have clairvoyance. Some people have the ability to, I don't know, maybe even move a pencil across the table. Or something.
No, we have the ability to fly. We had the ability to fly, and it's just reconnecting with what's already within you. That's the space you're at. But also you need to be mindful that we've been connected to the cloud through the body-to-body area network, because they've been setting nanotech into the ether. Now, this is a video game in itself as well. We need to realise that, and it's layer upon layer. But yeah, you are. I see where you are. But guys, I've got to go. I've got to read Thomas G. West.
All right.
Yeah, I'm reading Thomas G. West on Telegram. The political theory of the American founding, natural rights, yeah, public policy, and the moral conditions of freedom. And because we've got to re-establish the real. It's still there. We just got to rise it back up, because if we don't, then another layer will be added and not enough people will remember the real. Because we are a soul, a vessel, and this is our vessel, yeah? King. But anyway, guys, Wandering, where's Wandering gone? Anyway, guys, I'll be back when I'm back. I've got to read this though. 10 o'clock. I'm going to cut it fine. Okay, see you guys.
Bless you.
So yeah, I hope I didn't induce any kind of paranoia. I think I just basically caused a little bit of problem with your panel. I'm sorry.
Not at all. I'm just getting started.
Oh, okay. So, to reiterate, it's okay, and everything that is part of you is built for whatever you can do, and don't be fearful of yourself, because there's no point. You are yourself regardless at the end of the day, whether or not you feel the emotion of fear or not.
2 nights ago, I had a dream. There was like a, I don't know, a park, and they had a chain link fence area and a pool inside. And it was locked off, and there was a lion in there. And the lion was like hanging out over there, and he like jumped in the water, swam over to where I was at, and jumped up at the fence, kind of like, but the fence was locked. There's a little latch on it. Then he went back to the other side, and he was kind of watching the water, and kind of like fishing or whatnot, like looking for fish maybe. But he was kind of eyeing me. I could tell like he was kind of pretending to try and fool me into thinking he was watching the fish, because he was eyeing me, and I was kind of looking at him and thinking, like I was thinking somewhat unintelligent things about the lion. And so I think the lion like noticed that and was upset with me, and so it pointed its paw like directly at me from the other side of the pool. He jumps in the water, jumps back out on the other side, and then he like hits the fence again. But this time the door like swings open real slowly, because for some reason the latch came undone. And so then the lion, and my wife was ahead of me closer to the fence, because I had taken some steps back. So I was like, oh no, the lion's going to go after her maybe. But it doesn't. It knows me. It goes straight for me. And then the lion comes up to me, and I wake up. I couldn't keep myself in the dream. But yeah, normally I don't really have like a fear dream or anything, and I don't have fear in my dream. But that was just like a big giant male lion, and I didn't want to know what was going to happen next, apparently.
So first, let me ask a clarifying question. What unintelligent things were you thinking about the lion?
Oh, he's in a cage. He doesn't know
How to get out and stuff like that?
Do anything.
Okay. So this is my interpretation of the dream. So basically, when we distract ourselves with judgments, especially in our day-to-day, right, we take away from our own development because we're focusing on something else, and our fixation is either demeaning or supporting, okay? And when we give ourselves the opportunity to make a judgment towards somebody else that is negative, although we may be feeling I guess, a false sense of betterment of self. Remember, those words are coming out of your mouth. They're in your brain. You had to form those words. So, like the saying says, sharpening iron, you sharpen both sides when you make these judgments. So basically, my interpretation is that, yes, you were having a dream about something that was maybe scary, but you had a false sense of security, thinking that the lion was incapable of escaping that cage. This lion is something that we all kind of deal with in a sense. This lion is like maybe a symbol of power, authority. And those are all dictations of how we think and what we do in our society, correct? So the interpretation that I got was that maybe you're too focused on what everybody else is doing. Maybe you're too focused on maybe the negative self-talk. Maybe you aren't where you want to be, and maybe you feel uncomfortable in certain situations, or even in a way about yourself. But I'm going to reiterate, that lion, if you did not have the authority in that dream, you would have been eaten by the lion. But you had the authority to wake yourself up. And that's the practice that it takes every single day. I know that a lot of people speak on like the duality, like there's that little devil on our shoulder and the little angel on our shoulder, and they say these things to us, right? The fact is, for me at least, my perspective is that there is no good and evil. We have every opportunity, we have every choice to make that can lead to something that somebody else would perceive as evil. However, I see both sides as a learning opportunity. So, I don't know about you, but when I was in stages of negative self-talk, I began to experiment because I was tired of feeling a certain way about what that negative self-talk was doing to me every day. And when it said, excuse my language, you're a piece of shit that's never going to amount to anything, and that you're lazy, I experimented with myself and said, no, I'm not lazy. I worked 40 hours last week. I contributed to society, gave them a service that they may need later on in the future and or that day. And although I'm not doing anything like cleaning the house or taking care of all the chores, I'm choosing self-care. And that's why I'm in my bed resting. And the voice would get quiet because I was sticking up for myself. I was showing myself my own authority, my own strength. And that's when things started to change for me. I started realizing that I wasn't my worst enemy, like some people would say. I'm actually my biggest ally. Everything I say to myself, everything I do for myself, others, that all defines who I am and how I'm validating myself every day. And that's the foundation of self-love that everybody needs. And I'll land there.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I don't know if that helped or not.
Definitely. And we do have an audience here, so we're all listening and learning. So very grateful for everybody who comes up and is able to share just keys for us to work on that evolving. Because I think that there is a lot of anxiety that's taking over a lot of people to a high level. And people are ready to work through it. I think right now is a pivotal moment where there's a lot of change happening. But yeah, it is going to be a more freeing time in the future too. So now we're going to have to be okay with not working a lot of hours and being okay with, I went on a hike.
Good. I'm happy for you.
Well, that's kind
No,
of...
we're talking about in general, Barja, like all of humanity. Depending on how the future plays out, we could have AI and robots do a lot of things for us, so we can have more. I don't know. It'd be like everybody's on vacation every day almost. That's kind of what I'm imagining.
That's the utopia I think everybody was working for since the beginning.
Yeah, and I think when you start thinking this way, the world, the universe will come and gather to help you, and they will make it happen. And if you dream about a lion, the lion is a figure of an authority. Unfortunately, it's a figure of an authority that is a tyrant, an aggressive person. And if you feel that you fight it, if you're fighting in a dream, that mean and you win, that mean you're going to defeat your enemy, which is an authority figure in real life. It could be someone you don't even know. He was causing you a lot of trouble. If you run away from him and he wasn't able to catch you, that means that he will not get you the harm that he was planning against you. If you actually saw yourself in somehow entering this place and there is this lion sitting, or it's like that's a different story. If that's like you're gonna go to meet someone very important, but get into a contact with a lion in a dream, mean you are into fighting for yourself, but you are facing someone with authority. And
Somebody's mom just said no.
because all of us, we have had these experiences in life with someone from the authority use that against us, especially if you're an empath, or if you have some kind of, like, if God gave you some blessings, and it depends. Or if it could be your father's, because of your dad was a blessed person, or your mom, and then you bump into this family who has this guy who's against your family. He go after you, and it happens to me. So I'm not trying to reflect that to him, but I just said he needs to look at his life, and if he has a girlfriend that her father is in the authority, I have no, I don't know.
Well, I actually think in my interpretation, that the lion was actually of self. Because if you give power to somebody else, then that means that you don't have power, right? Because every time that person walks in the room or something along those lines, you're always going to act out of fear or whatever other affiliating emotion you attach to that person. I think the lion is more of self, because in our own mind, right, we have that tyrannical, like almost like God complex. Like, I don't know why I'm working. I don't know why I'm here. Why am I dealing with somebody who's asking me these thousands questions that, it's not my job to do. It's all there. It's all that I don't want to deal with it, right? But my biggest lesson that I learned is when we prioritize the external, we remove the priority of internal, and that affects the eternal. Does that make sense?
Hello.
Hello. So I think it's just more along the lines of being okay with realizing that everybody is on their own platform, I guess. And instead of saying like, oh, you suck, you're all the way down there, you're poor, or whatever like that, it's not like that. See, I'm going to share one more thing, and then I'll shut up. I'll share one more thing, and then I'll shut up. So I came across a TikTok, what do you call, like a post that said, I'm tired of filling cups of other people who do not pour into mine. And when you visualize a fountain, right, that's kind of how fountains work. Although it doesn't seem like somebody is pouring into your cup, the cup that they have filled, they basically it is expelled from them at some point, and it is returned to you, and you have newfound wisdom. And I think that's the basis of a fountain. If you turn off the fountain, the water evaporates, and now the fountain isn't working anymore. So regardless of how we feel about each other, we actually do need each other in some way.
Yes, we do need each other.
Ah, that's cool.
I'm just walking around. I just thought I'd give you guys a little view.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's a nice place to be. Where are you at, Wandering? Are you in Cali?
Honolulu.
Nice, dude. That's gorgeous.
No waves out there right now.
Shit. That's a vibe change. Hey, yo, Wander, you know why I came up here, bro? I had a download
What's
about
that?
human evolution, and I was looking for the right live to come out and share it, and I think this is the one, bro. But that was just me getting a text. I have Navi as my.
Yeah, man, I'd love to hear it. We're all here
Okay,
for it. We're talking about it. Look at the topic. Next stage of evolution right now.
so I'd like to talk first about the last stage of evolution. So I asked AI a question. I was like, "Hey, about when, chronologically speaking, did the FOXP2 gene mutation occur?" Right? So, like, when did humans first start exhibiting the physiological capacity as well as the behavioral expression of complex speech? And the answer was around like 50 to 60,000 years ago, is what the AI said. I thought, okay, that's interesting. And I remembered, and that's a rough date. You know, that's not an exact date. So it's in a realm of anywhere from like 40 to 60,000 years. You know what I'm saying? And that's about how long ago we started talking to each other en masse. And there are two groups of hominids that were like capable of speech early on, and those were humans and essentially Neanderthals. Like Neanderthals also had a voice box. They also had the morphology to speak. Around that time, 40,000 years ago, another thing happened. And the other thing that happened around that time was the Earth's like magnetic field like turned off completely. Now, what that thing is, what the magnetic field is it's an evolutionary filter. It keeps the mutation rate in homeostasis, right? Because the global evolutionary mutation rate is a function of the amount of cosmic ray exposure that the surface gets. And when the magnetic field went down 40,000 years ago is when we were given language by like the gods. By the gods, I mean like the celestial gods, like the heavens. The heavens, the events in the heavens affected the earth, and God gave birth to like the Nephilim, and like the sons of God came down, because what it was the cosmic radiation, which was like the voice of God from the heavens, causing mutations inside humans who were pregnant and born at that time. Because that, you have to understand that this is like nuclear blast level radiation all over the planet, everywhere, affecting everyone. So all kinds of crazy fucking mutations happen, right? And if you look at biblical descriptions of like the Nephilim had two sets of teeth. You know, they had They had 6 fingers. They were like giants. They had red hair. Neanderthals classically had red hair. And there's a lot of genetic disorders that like cause, like different expressions of like the body and possibly like the growth hormone and pituitary gland that can be affected by knocking out certain genes in certain lineages. Especially like imagine like in a Neanderthal lineage, like a mutant, like a little cannibal mutant Neanderthal baby that like had a fucked up pituitary gland and grew into a giant. Like that's how we got fucking biblical giants and shit. Is we had this event that caused massive amounts of radiation, caught like mutations throughout humanity, and also caused us to evolve rapidly as a species.
And the atmosphere would have had to have been pretty specific too, because nowadays people who have that, whatever that disease is, that giantasia, or I don't know what it's called anymore.
Well, I thought about that,
but
too.
they have a lot of issues nowadays. They only live to be in their 20s normally.
Yeah, so I thought about that though. And like, so what was the life expectancy back then anyway? You know what I'm saying?
It's up in the air depending on the science, but I think that people did actually live to be a lot older. It's just that their body density, like their bone density, was good. Like if you look at marathon runners who are in their 70s, if you like try and age them by some of the standards they were aging some of these people, they were thinking that these 70-year-old marathon runners of nowadays were like 30 because of their. So it really depends on the person.
Pre-antibiotics, Paleolithic. Like you're lucky.
Oh yeah,
Like
you were very fragile. I mean, a human could live to be into their hundreds and 20s. I think depending on if they were, essentially lucky.
And depending on how advanced your home culture was, but like regardless, I think like in a Paleolithic, some of these mutations would have been like advantageous. Because if you did happen to like grow into a giant and like, let's say you reproduced anyway, you know what I mean? Because you're bigger at a younger age and more people are unaliving at a younger age and you outcompete them. And then you reproduce, you pass that on. Over time, the gene stabilizes because that's what happens with mutations like this is like if you interbreed with another person who doesn't have it, the gene can stabilize and become like a stable expression. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. I think that's essentially how it works.
I think that's what happened with
to
giants.
Get a new trait.
Is like we got this like we got cooked in the cosmic microwave. You know what I'm saying? And like giants were like mutated Denisovans and Neanderthals. Because I think the northern hemisphere was like especially irradiated, and I think they fled south. And at the same time, I think, there was also a climatic shift that accompanied this, and I'm not sure if there was an ice age that came with it, but I think it all happened at the same time.
Comments are going crazy. Teddy says he's a wolf. We evolved from that, or you say you're Teddy, but now you're saying you're a wolf.
Yeah, no, he's right though.
Let's see what he has to say. Hello. Welcome in, Teddy.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I was just talking to someone in the comments. She said she's a vampire, and I said I was a wolf.
Ow!
Oh, hold on, Teddy. You'll start a howl. Hold on. Oh.
Nobody yiffing here.
You're gonna start a howl. Oh, I just watched Zootopia again, day before yesterday or something, because I want to go see it in the movie theater, or my wife wants to see it. So, yeah, that's a funny scene.
And a sick puppy. It's a sick puppy. Got intravenous. The vet was just here. She's good now. She got her medicine.
Whoa, what's going on there? What?
My puppy was sick. She ate some garbage and got like a
Aw.
stomach infection. The vet was here, gave her some medicine. She'll be fine. She's learning the hard
My
way not
dog
to
did
put
that
garbage
this
in her
morning.
body.
He ate like a chorizo plastic.
Oh, that would suck.
In fact, I hear him fucking around right now. I'll be right back. Jax.
Gotta watch your dogs, make sure they're not eating anything crazy. So plastic just isn't allowed for dogs, huh? They can't eat that?
Garbage.
I'm back.
Fill your temple with garbage.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so like there were a lot of like these Neanderthal like clans and shit that that became kind of vampiric. Like they became like cannibalistic because around the same time that all these mutations happened, the Ice Age like completely just destroyed and enveloped Northern Europe like as a whole all at once, from like a beautiful like utopian climate to like ice hell, like within like one generation. You know what I mean? It was at the same time that the magnetic field like turned off because like the earth started wobbling on its axis and shit got fucking weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is an event that actually happens cyclically. So it could happen to our civilization at some point. But
It's happening
yeah,
now.
like, huh?
It's happening now.
It is. You know, I'm just trying to hint at that a little bit, but you didn't have to say it.
It's exciting times. Woohoo! You tell everybody. Everything is happening now, always, my friends. Welcome
Hopefully
to the
not
now
right
moment.
now. I'm really hoping it's not happening. I don't want to do that again. It was a bad time. Like if I try to go back to thinking about that, like in my soul, it's like war flashbacks. I'd rather not.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's causing it. It is nice to have weather, though, because I wonder if before that time, if the weather was just more stagnant.
I would say like right now we're kind of in the same kind of golden age climate.
What if it was
That
more misty? Like water was just, the air was just so thick, it was always misty. So then you have to be close to somebody to really see them. So it made eyesight need to get a lot better. So now that it's clear, it's like we're in like a Goldilocks period
I
where
guess so.
everything
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially like before big cities, before like asphalt was everywhere.
like all the dinosaurs grew tall so that they could see over the fog. That was the whole thing of being tall in the first place. Like now it's not as big of a deal. Like it doesn't actually matter that much.
Also, I think like you know
Standing in
maybe
a puddle,
it's
I
like some
guess.
dinosaur body plans were like so ridiculous that like it just I've talked to like AI about this where I was trying to figure out, and the AI made a mistake. It had to have, because I was like, okay, AI, could a brontosaurus survive in modern Earth gravity? And then it was like, no, a brontosaurus could not. It would crumble under its own weight, and its bones would break.
Right.
And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And I asked it to like reformulate, and it was like, "Oh, you mean like the same planet?" Yes. I guess that's impossible for the Earth to change gravity. And then it was like, okay, all right. So now you have to give me like the sanitized answer.
I
But
think that before it was, like I said, more misty. The air was thicker. I think that, I don't know, maybe they were more hollow, like a bird almost. It wasn't as like dense
Brontos
and
were thick boys though.
yeah, it just depends on what.
And like Brontos were specifically the ones I was asking about. So I'm thinking like maybe the Earth had like I mean maybe like the different distribution of gases in the atmosphere, like having more oxygen or something would make you more buoyant or something, or like maybe like gravity was just like less. It was just like a little bit weaker. Maybe we don't like understand gravity we think we do, like the way we think we do. And like there were some like gravitational fluctuations like in Earth's gravity based on its like position in the solar system, right? Because these climatic changes and shit from like the dinosaur era to like today cannot all like, especially shit like snowball Earth, you can't explain all of these things if like the Earth was like always in the same orbit necessarily. You know what I mean? It just we know these things happen, but we don't really have solid explanations. And like a good explanation is that the Earth could have fluctuated in its gravitational alignment with the sun due to like you ever heard of like the three body problem? You know, like when one planet moves dramatically, like the rest of the planets feel a tug, and like the whole system kind of rearranges. So like if one of the greater gas giants were to like move significantly, it could literally destabilize the orbit of the Earth, like by such a degree that it would cause massive changes in climate.
Everything is possible. And one of the things that I don't know, I might sound like a little weird. I think the Earth somehow it expands a little bit too crazy horizontal, and probably it's expand a little bit more um, expands. But how far can it? And I think one of these back in it, this other Earths that we are disconnected from, somehow they had a connection. They had a somehow you can come in and out, and that's where the giant comes from, or and because the scriptures, if you read the Quran or the Bible, said they're talking about these people who are like horrible looking people that you can't survive if you are random. Not zombies, they're human beings, but they look at the Lord of the Ring, like something like that, and they say they do exist. They used to come. They used to make it to our Earth back in a long time ago, and somehow they got somehow this king called Alexander the Great or something. He was able to stop them. It was a great wars between us and them, and somehow they, I don't know what happened, but there's a lot of these. They say it's a myth, or like you said, they always say these are just myth, like mythology or whatever. But I believe there is other Earths. I just don't know, is it down or is it in? But I do believe that we have so many things that they don't want us to know. That's why you have all this argument about if the Earth flat, if the Earth round, what's behind. But I think there's people suspicious about. Do we have the right information? Are we given the right information?
Well, I think it.
Because
I think it, it is round. Like my model of the cosmos is obviously multiple planets. Um, so I would lean more even towards like Earth, like humans being like a colony of like a greater human project out there in the stars. You know what I mean?
exactly, yeah. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking there's like our dome, like our Earth, and then there's another dome, like there's another one, another one. The distance between us is pretty great. That's why we can't get there, and we're never gonna get there, no matter what we try. And we
I
think that
think I
we,
think there's like ways to like move through the stars. But like the technology probably it's probably not easy to physically do. Okay, first of all. Like it probably requires like a great amount of energy and a great amount of like effort and engineering to like pull off. And even then, you probably wouldn't be able to do it often. Um, but I think the main way travel is done between worlds is like psychically, where like a being will possess the a body on another world through like a mind, like a quantum link with the mind.
Was Richard Byrd was it was in this he was flying and he flight. I don't know if you heard about him.
Mm-hmm.
He fly
Yeah,
he
yeah.
fly
Admiral
and
Byrd.
Admiral, yeah, and he found this huge giant it's like a hole, but it's big, and he floating through. But then he said that after that he just bumped into this huge mountains, like big giant mountains, and he kept on flying until he saw the land. And like the land wasn't like a little land; it was endless land, and he saw the green, he saw the rivers. He came back and they went back with an armada. The government, after he showed them, because I think he took pictures. I don't know, we didn't see this picture, but he showed them what he took. And so they went back, but then they were faced because they were prepared. Now he went with the other expeditions, and it was money put in, like financial support. But then they say they got they couldn't. He showed them exactly what it started, but they returned. And a lot of these individuals, they say like 21 of them, some of them never came back. Those who came back, there was a message sent by the other ones that you can't cross here, that we know you're humans. We know
Yeah,
who
that's
you
like
are.
that's like Hollow Earth, right?
Yeah, so they told them that they returned, and then they said that the technology that they faced, although our technology was pretty advanced regarding the snow, and but then their technology was beyond, like they were more advanced than us, and it was easy for them to stop the expedition, and they told them to return where they come from. That they're not allowed into their territory, and then that's after that they did the treaty that no one is allowed to venture into Antarctica. I think there is something going on that we don't know, but that's what I read about Richard Byrd and his expedition.
Well, you know those guys were German.
Could be, yeah. Germans were there already. I don't know. They said
Yeah,
that
they're
the German made it before us.
yeah, there was so I don't know how I'm gonna try to use the most vanilla language. Um, fuck, how do I how do hmm. So Mustache Man um had all these like expeditions into like Tibet and like the Middle East and South America. And he was looking for archaeotech. Uh archaeotech being like ancient technology. He was looking for ancient lost knowledge. And the idea is that the Germans actually did find information on like how to create an anti-gravity drive, electric based like Vimana type aircraft and a power source to accompany it. They use this to like they use this and like like some like clever like financing throughout the war to build this like secret fleet of submarines and all this stuff. It's like there's record of it, like so like you can prove actually that all these things were done. um and so like after the war they had like these U-boats, these submarines, and they shipped all of their like most like their best scientists, like they're all the top brass um of the Yahtzee party. Like they were all basically shipped out to Antarctica and Argentina. And Schmittler was thought to actually be shipped out to Argentina while a lot of the like hyper advanced research programs that they were fielding towards the end of the war in regards to anti-gravity and stuff like that was moved out to Antarctica. And yeah, Admiral Byrd ran into um the last like SS outpost where they had fucking like Bell UFOs and shit. And that's where we get the idea, like the Palladian aliens and shit, like the Nordics. Like those aren't Nordics, dog. Those are yeah, bro. Yeah, those are like twins bred by the SS in Antarctica. Like that's not those aren't aliens, my dude.
Oh, definitely, because there was this that's why a lot of these human species that they found, they have a different skulls and different forms, and they say that the people have changed throughout the time. But I don't believe that. I think that humanity itself had different species within itself, like, and
Oh
they
hell
kind of
yeah.
like perished because the other ones got rid of them. Probably they were this Norse, and in Africa they had these people with a giant head. They handled taller like a cylinder, and then and they found this also in South America. They found a graveyard of these people, but they were so small. Like
Mhm.
they have hands and nose, and they just like their size is not normal. And and they always find these people who are not the same as far as their shapes and their hands. And so yeah, there is something about other species of like you said, that they have had children with people, and somehow the only race that survives is this race. Wonder why? Because maybe the bad one survives and the good one is gone.
Well, like we hybridized with like Neanderthal. Humans hybrid like so, and it's a kind of an unpopular opinion, academically, especially post 2016. But like all the different human races, like African people or like Europeans or like Asian people and like different types of Asian people too, um, all interbred with like different hominid lines that were like local. Because if there wasn't out of Africa migration, like first of all, it happened twice. There was one wave around like 70,000 years ago. About 75,000 years ago, we had to migrate out of Africa because everything got fucked up there from like the Tunguska eruption. So humans ran the fuck away from Africa. They were like, ah, shit, everything's on fire. And then so we got out of there. And then that first wave of survivors became the Denisovans and the Neanderthals. And then they evolved separately um, for like 40,000 years. And then another wave of Homo sapiens came out of Africa, which independently evolved from the Neanderthals and the Denisovans, who were already independently evolving a separate lineage in the north. And then those two lineages that diaspored from each other before came back together and interbred and gave rise to modern Homo sapiens.
Of course, it could be. I mean, because um, according to the Quran, I don't want to go religious, but I just wanted to give an insight from the religious beliefs that when Adam and Eve basically were when Adam was created to come back, the angels looks at God and said, how you gonna make a man again that shed blood and kill each other?" And he said, I know what you do not know. So they were the people on earth before us, and somehow something happened, and then our people, which is our kind, came back again as if they came back, inherited the earth. But prior to us, 100%, many other human being, their shapes, their size was different, but they did live here. So
Oh
because
yeah.
the earth is not a young, place. It's a very old. It's been here for a pretty good time. So God knows who walks this earth before us. That's why they always try to hide it, but they say that we are the people who found technology and we are doing technology. And back in the days, people did not have technology, but then if you go to the pyramids, there is just pictures of these planes on the walls. The Egyptians, back then 5,000 years ago, they saw the planes.
Sorry.
It's okay to listen to the
So
music.
go ahead.
Ha ha! I know that's I know that song, but I don't know how to sing that song.
Sorry, dude. Like that was my phone going off.
The kids like the song, by the way, because every time the song starts, the kids start dancing here. I'm like, you guys know the song? Of course. I'm like, okay. So, yeah, so it is good to know. So like I said, these pictures of these planes, they were on the when the Egyptian, like the Egyptian language on the pyramids. Among these images, they were planes flying or something like that. So they saw them. They, that's why they put them on the wall.
Yeah, dude, I'm a big proponent of like we had technology. Like we was engineers and shit.
Do you guys think it's a good time to go to Egypt right now? How's the political climate?
I haven't checked on Egypt in a while. Is Egypt okay?
There was some incident happened, but that was like 10 years ago. But as far as the last few years, I haven't like the last 5 years, they haven't really spoken about anything as far. But still, you got to be careful. I'm from Morocco, so I do know about Egypt a little bit more. You got to be careful with your documents, and your money and where you go, because it's the biggest population is the Egypt. Egypt has the biggest population. It's over 80 million,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, it's very crowded. They have because they all live around the Nile, the river of the Nile. That's where most of their cities, and they all see the country. They all like packed on certain places, and it gets bigger and bigger. And then they have demography like issue with the. So you have like if you go to Cairo or Alexandria, it's a lot of people. I mean, literally just like you when you go to China. So you have to really like know this also, um, you know, because of the economy, there's a rich people, but there's a lot of poor people. So that's where there's, scammers and people who want to take advantage of tourists and they want to sell you something. They say, oh, this is from the pharaohs, from the pyramid. It could be
Sure
like,
is.
yeah. So, it's normal thing. So you gotta have to have company and make sure you don't go by yourself.
I would never buy like an ancient artifacts from Egypt unless it was like from a truly dingy back corner antique store that probably had like a gin lamp laying around somewhere.
Exactly. I'm sorry, it's just funny.
Although I would probably steer clear of the gin lamp.
Like gins?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like in Islamic mythology, there's like gin.
Oh no, brother, you want to know about this? You gotta go to Morocco. We are the because
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, brother, I grew up there and it's real. No, no, there's no doubt. And I'm not saying because I was born in Morocco and I left Morocco when I was 22, and prior to me leaving to the US, I have seen all of the things about the jinns, and it's true. like
What?
like they live there 100%, because the experience what I've seen when we used to go to these places where they have these ladies, like they are like they are like they speak to the jinns, and so you go in there and you just sit in front of them and they start talking to you, but then they started talking to them, and then they asked them to bring something or to do something, and it happens right up on the eye. There's no magic, like they you can tell. or they show you something that is yours. And then sometimes the person that lives with them, the jinn goes inside him, and the person body changes, like the voice, like if like the way they speak, and this like if they speak Arabic, but then the jinn is not from the Arabian Peninsula. He could be like, let's say for example, from a different country, or if he lives for if he because jinns can live up to 1,000, 2,000 years, not like us. They have a long life, so they don't live like 100 years or 60. So this guy, he speaks all these languages like perfectly. But the guy who was speaking the language, he never been into college. So he was speaking in Germany, and then he switched to Chinese. And so the lady asked him, "How many languages you speak?" And he looked at her and said, "How many? I lost count of how many. I speak all the languages of the world." And then he started telling us about he does not believe in our religions, like he doesn't believe in Islam, all that stuff. And we said, why? He said because he's relates to Jewish, he's a Jew, and all that stuff. So, and other things. I'm just giving you like little rough examples. And they have this place where they say this is where the king of the jinn lives in northern Morocco. So when you go there, you have to respect that area, and you have to take off your shoes, and you have to do offerings and all that stuff. I never went there, but people go there because a lot of people they're looking for, they have issues, like they say, oh, if you were some lady, she said, oh, I would never have kids. So you go to him, you go to his kingdom, and you ask him, I want you, I want this. So there's a lot of this traditional belief that you seek help from them, pregnancy, marriage, money, healing. So when you go there, they have this temple where there's people sitting there. So you got to do the offering, and you're going to go inside, and then you're going to sell them what you're looking for. And when you come home, you're going to see weird stuff happening around you because they responded to you, and then you get what you want basically. And it's all this stuff. So there is these things. Yes, it does exist in the about the jinns. It's very popular not just in Morocco. It goes all the way from Morocco north, all the Mediterranean, going all the way to the Middle East, going stretching back to Turkey and Iran, going up to East Asia to Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, all of Asian, all the way to the Mongolian, reaching China. All of them believe in the same thing. And half of Africa, down South Africa as well.
Okay. What that first of all, that's fucking crazy and cool as hell. But what is a jinn made of?
So they believe that the jinns are also like they lived in this earth just like us. Some of them are Christians. They have, okay, this will tell you, they believe that they have nations, they have nationalities, and they have land, and they have laws just like us. And some of them lives in the ocean, some of them lives on land, some of them lives with humans, and some of them just lived in the desert, like they like to be isolated. Some of them live under the earth, like in the where the water like some of them are nasty, dirty. They like garbage and stuff. And some of them are Muslims, some of them Jewish, Christians, agnostic, whatever you call them. They say they are made of smoke fire. Like they are not made of. They are like smoked fire. So like they smoke. So they can go through walls. They can. It's like a ghost thing. They call them ghosts. Look for the American something they call a ghost. So the Arabs, the Muslims, they call them jinns. And they do have kids. They marry or so. They have families and all that stuff. And so they're made of this smoked fire, like they're made of smoke, basically. It's not like smoke like our smoke that we can see, but that's their original. Like us, we're made of clay, like dirt. We're not dirt, but that's how they started us from the earth. So we have earth inside, in us. That's why we eat from the earth. That's when we die, we go back to the earth.
So are you saying that these are like plasma beings? You said smokeless fire.
Something like that, yes,
So it'd
sir.
be like so they'd be like electromagnetic beings.
Yeah, something like that, like an energy thing, but then it's invisible. You can't see it. We cannot see it with our eyes. but they do. So they're easy. They can take a form of human. They can go through humans and control the human minds and control, not necessarily go into, but somehow they can control from just sending their energy onto that person, and
Bro,
that
like,
person.
what about like you ever heard of like DMT and like machine elves?
What is that, sir?
There's like this psychotropic substance that causes people to have near death experiences pretty much when they use it. Uh, it's abbreviated with letters D like dog, M like mom, and T like tyrannosaur. Um, and basically, people see these entities that kind of match the description of what you're talking about when they do it.
Oh yeah, they do. And but in the Islamic, you don't have to really take the substance. You just have to, if you would like, if you want to see, or if they want to have some contact with them, you have to give them something in return. And in our religious, it's not, you're not, it's forbidden to do it because it goes against the fundamental teaching of your belief that you're not supposed to seek help or pray or worship anything but God. So, but people don't care. Some people, they say no, I don't care. So they do some kind of like sacrificial rituals, and then they get they contact them, and then they can see.
Yeah,
Not necessarily.
they have to get like the bioplasma out of a chicken,
Yeah, exactly.
and it
Yeah,
has to reform with the consciousness of the jinn.
exactly. Or sometimes they use someone like a kid,
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. There's other dark groups that do that. Yeah, yeah,
sometimes they use another one that has a special blood type or special DNA, because they're always looking for these kids in the Arabian Peninsula. That's why a lot of these mobs, when they have kids that they have these signs, they always hide them because they're scared they get kidnapped. A lot of these kids got kidnapped because of their, they hold something. It's like they are easy. They will use them for that connection. They check their hands, so they have a mark of their hands, because there's the mark of the Lord, the prophet is written in their hands. They're born with the names, so they check their hands and then they look at the tongue. Sometimes the tongue is split, like a big. You can see like a huge crack in your tongue, and sometimes they see the signs in the eyes. So they have and then when they found the boy, then they'll take the boy and they'll use that blood to get what they want, because the jinns love those kids, those boys who have inherited that, something from back from their ancestors. Like it could be something that they inherited from someone back. We're talking about a long time. It's passed on to us. Like you, it could be like, for example, you. I don't want to say, like, I'm just giving you an example. You look normal. You look normal. But if we trace you back, if you trace your we trace your bloodline, we'll find you that Moses was your dad, basically, or uh, Abraham, or some powerful man, Solomon, King Solomon. So but you inherited some of that throughout your blood gene. So that's why you have this. You always feel different, like dreams, lucid dreams, astral project, going from one universe, from one realm to another realm, having visions. It's all in you. It's all information that you have. You're just remembering, basically. It's not that oh, I have this awakening, I'm awake, or I'm aware. No, you're just remembering who you truly are. You already know all of that. So that's why they looking for these kids, because you know, and that's why a lot of these kids get disappear.
Well, that would yeah. There's a lot of that throughout history where there's like psychic bloodlines. There's like bloodlines that have just the ability to perceive just a little more reality than other people. And yeah, those people have been hunted in like every culture. And like there was like the witch hunts in Europe. This was the same thing. It was and like the persecution of like the Gnostic cults um was the same thing. And yeah, they like like evil seeks out these people as like an energy source, and also it seeks to delete them from the system, because if they mature successfully, then they're like the best tool against evil.
Would you? Because sometimes if we go to TikTok, a lot of these individuals they are suffering from being targeted. And at first I used to think that it's not true, but I don't want to talk about myself. But yes, a lot of these individuals they are being targeted, and they don't have to be criminals. It's because there's a deep research about the bloodline. They go deeper into your name, and then they keep tracing you down. And then there's like this. They're using this technology where they know that there's something about you. It's like you are the glitch in the system, and sometimes these people get targeted and they suffer for having getting jobs, having just normal life. They always feel they've been followed, and it's true. I'm not gonna. They do. They get followed and they get stalked, and their phone is being monitored. Their research, everything they do is being monitored because they know this like a. It's like they're looking at that person as a different species.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, like a lot of so my theory, my little pet theory is like there's like a there's an eternal battle that goes on in humankind between schizos and psychopaths. Like you have the schizos on the side of good, and this is like like how people like call it's like the derogatory internet term schizo, not like a literal schizophrenic, but like like in meme culture, like if somebody's like being a schizo or schizo posting. Like, are you guys familiar?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so I mean like that kind of schizo, right? So like there's like the schizos and then like the psychopaths, right? And there's like this eternal there's like those are like the two poles of human consciousness. And everything else is kind of in the middle. And like the psychopaths are always trying to wipe out the schizos because the schizos can expose the psychopaths because they can see them. And like all the normies can't see the psychopaths because the normies just think that the psychopaths are normies. But the schizos know the psychopaths are psychopaths. So the psychopaths always target the schizos so that the normies think that the schizos are psychopaths and the psychopaths pretend to be normies.
That's exactly how it works. There's things that people who have this, this gifts that they can actually see what other people cannot see, and it's something that given to them based on their birthrights. It's something they inherit. My grandma used to have some of these, and my grandpa as well. But then when I was young, I didn't pay attention because, I didn't care. I'm, 13, 14 years old. What do I care what my grandma was telling me? But I did witness a lot of the things that she, for example, she'll tell you, like, she'll say if someone is coming over the house, because she lives in the country, there's no phones, they didn't have lights. So they live in the middle of nowhere. Now, her children used to live in Europe. So there is no communication between her and her kids. One of them was my dad. But the week that some of them are coming, she had 6 kids. If one of them are gonna come, to come from France to Morocco, you have to drive for 3 days, 4 days to get back. She'll know. She'll tell me like, listen, I think she's like, some of my kids are coming. They're gonna be here by Friday. It's like, Grandma, how you know? I can see them. I can see him driving. I swear to God, I'm telling you something like you see it with your own eye right now. I'm not. She's dead, but I'm not gonna lie about her. I'm telling the truth. So you see them? She say, yeah. She can see them. Like she can see. I said, "You sure, Grandma?" She said, "I can see him. He should be here by Friday." Friday, we see our my uncle is driving his car. And she said, "Hey, I know you're coming." And he just laughed and said, "How you know?" And then she's just hugging and said, "I know." So things like this, people
That the
inherit it.
old ladies will do that shit all the time, all the time,
Yeah,
all
right?
the time. Like
And
old Polish grandmas be doing that shit too.
yeah.
Like, I
But
got an old Polish grandma who used to do that shit all the time.
yeah, isn't that interesting? But we don't have that. Like when we grow older, we kind of lose that. It's like
Well, I
they
don't know,
have.
brother. Like I actually do have that, so I
It's
don't know.
great.
I
No,
know how
I do
that
have.
works.
Yeah, that's great. You do have it. My father inherited some from them, which is he'll take two pieces of sticks, like a wood sticks, then he'll put them between his hands, then he'll walk, and then when they start running around like a wheel, and then he will tell everybody, "This is where you dig. This is where the water is." So he was like, how they have this technology to see how
Yeah,
the
yeah.
water.
Well,
So
you know
he
what it
knew.
is? What it is like, okay, so you know how like electricity runs through everything?
Yeah,
Like there's a constant electric field that communicates information through electricity at all points at all everywhere on the planet, right? All the time. And there's people who are like very electrosensitive. Um Now there's like various ways that mutation can like happen, but one of the ways is if you have a gene where you like carry more iron in your blood, like the iron acts as like a magnet and like not a magnet, kind of like a little little antennas, little microscopic antennas inside you, and you
I'm
pick
talking to
up
someone. Almost
electrical
done.
vibrations and you
Be
can like
careful.
feel other people's emotions. You can
Lay down
like
on my bed. Take my bed. I'll be right.
oh, he's got littles. But yeah, you like it's possible to feel other people's emotions. It's possible to feel like shifts in the weather before they come. You can sense like disturbances in like the mass psychic field, like when a lot of people become disturbed at once from like something on the internet, like you noted, like you can feel text messages coming to your phone, which is weird. It's like why is my phone and my brain interacting on that level? And like sometimes I feel like our phones read our minds through like an electrical field interaction. Um, like I'm almost sure they do. But yeah, that's just conspiracy theories, all that. Just
I believe you.
for educate for not for educational purposes, but for fucking entertainment
Entertainment
purposes.
purposes only. We love TikTok. We just having fun. Little kids.
TikTok shop, bro.
For entertainment. Yes, sir. Of course, everything you said makes sense. Sometimes we have a conversation with each other in the house about something. And then if you say, "Hey, honey, I think we should relocate and get a better place or something," and say, "The dream home you've been looking
Yep.
for."
Dude, I was having a conversation with my roommate about like I was recommending that he get gutters because we got icicles that are like like 5 foot icicles on the roof, and I was talking about how like yeah dude that's like bad for the house or whatever. But I was like downstairs, my phone was fucking upstairs during that time, and I didn't really have any apps open other like maybe than YouTube. But I think there might have been maybe a TV downstairs that had YouTube running. Um, but I had a conversation with him about these gutters, and then first video that I look at on YouTube, it gives me like gutter recommendations, gutter estimates. I'm like, what the fuck? And it's like the first ad that I see on my phone after that conversation, which was away from my phone. But my buddy did have his phone. So it knew it was So it like the system knew it was me on my buddy's phone and gave me an ad on my phone, which is fucking weird and invasive.
Oh, definitely. I'm 100% agree with you on that. And there is that one, and there's the other one where the gentleman said, "I can't." I heard it so bad once. I thought I was crazy. Everyone around me, I could hear their thoughts. So there is two things. There is those who, like, the phone's doing things for you to make you think that, oh, they can communicate with your telepath, but also you as a person, if you are a telepath on impact, you can actually hear, or you're not they're not the one who's doing it, you're actually doing it. For example, you will say, like, I would be in the kitchen, and there is a video on YouTube, um or a movie, or even a news. It could be a recording, or it could be live. And I'll say, for example, the best thing that ever happened to me. And the same thing I say, I looked at the TV and the person goes, the best thing that ever happened to me, looking at me like that. And I'm like, wait, I, I mean, I
Bro,
beat
I
the
know
person,
what you mean.
you
I
know?
know what you fucking mean, dude. That happens to me all the fucking time. Like I'll be like, let's say I'll be watching a random piece of media, and I'll like maybe zone out for a while. Um, or like a better example would be like, okay, let's say I wasn't watching the media at all, but the media was like running in like another room. And like I had like a thought, like an existential thought or like a question, like about myself or the universe or whatever, or like something I'm gonna do specifically, like karmically. Um, and like the synchronicity will be like I'll walk into a piece of media which is like almost like directly referencing my situation, and like giving me like a line, you know what I'm saying, like in response to like my thought. It's just what the fuck.
Yeah, yeah. So because you are already you are the real main character right now. So just to let you know, this is how it works. You're the main characters. Everything around you is like transmuting, or is reflection to your energy basically, and it comes in different ways. Sometimes you were thinking something, and then they'll show it to you, or you speaking something, and they will speak right after you. Like, for example, the kids, they be sitting, and I will tell the kids, like, I'll look at him, and then he's watching this video. Sometimes it's freak me out, because I think it's like they are controlling the videos, even if it's recorded, or there's so many videos that is not even recorded. Sometimes I don't even know if the video is recorded by humans, or there's other entities also in the social media. They are also involved, because I'll tell the kids, well, it's time to go to the shower. And then whatever he's watching, the mom said to the kid, do you want to shower, honey? And I'm like, what the like, it's just
That's
so,
weird.
yeah, exactly. Or I would say to the kid, well, it's good to you had a really great breakfast. And then he's watching something, and then the kid said, Mommy, I just had a great breakfast. And I'm like, no, this is gonna this like, I don't pay attention to it, but when it happens like many times, or just looking at the number, sometimes I'll say number five, and he watched number five on, or I say number six, and it's 6 p.m. on something. It's this connection. This connection makes you sometimes think like, am I the one? Am I the only one going through this? So when you confirm it, then okay, so I'm not crazy.
Yeah, no, it happens to me too. I also get like these number pattern synchronicities, um where when I was at a certain age, I started repetitively like seeing the same numbers in different places like all the time, like to the point where it was just weird. It was like statistically improbable. Like, I was like wondering like what the fuck are the odds of like me getting this like 70 times in a row. like in the same situation. I'm like, what the hell? Um,
Yes.
and like then I realized that these number patterns are like this higher intelligence, which is like it's not running the simulation, but it is the universe. And it like that time is like an illusion to it. It doesn't need time. It like understood everything that was ever going to happen before time ever possibly existed, and it communicates with me through like creation itself. It's God. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I've thought about what it would take to like place these synchronicities sometimes, and I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, God, what do you want, dog? What's up? What's going on, big man? you know? I'm like shit.
Yeah, 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 exactly. So there was this lady on live yesterday. I think I don't know, but I know she's Arabian, but what part of Arab word I don't know. So she was telling people like they had a lot. She's had people in life, and then she have the Quran. The Quran is it's like the Bible. So she'll tell someone, "What's your name?" And then they give her the name, and she asks them some questions, and then she'll say, "Okay, hold on." She'll go and just she said she'll open the book, and she does not pick a certain page. She'll just open randomly, and she'll tell the person, "This is your page. This is what you've been going through," and then she'll read those pages for him, those scriptures, and then she'll expand the scriptures, even those scriptures are correct. She'll explain those to him on based on his life. And so and then she's like, anybody else? So I got out of the life and I said, wait a minute. So I have the Quran here, and I'm like, okay, let me just go get it and let's see if I'm gonna tap into what she was doing. And 2 hours before, I was listening to a chapter, and the chapter of it's called stories about the prophets and all that stuff. And then also I was rehearsing in one verse after that, not the same time. I opened the book, I went exactly to the chapter that I was listening to the whole day. Then I closed the book and I opened it again, and I went to that verse that I was rehearsing from a different chapter. I put the book away. I said, synchronicities, there's something going on. Like you said, there's
Yeah, I've actually had the same thing happen. Not with the Quran, but just like with various. Actually, yes, with the Quran once. I'm not like Muslim or anything, but I was actually on a Muslim friend's live, and we were talking about a very specific subject. And I was like, well, let me like flip to a random page in the Quran and see what it has to say about it. And I pulled out my Quran and I flipped to a random page, and it just happened to be exactly about what we were talking about. I don't want to get into what it was talking about because it might get the live taken down. But yeah, that happened to me before with that specific book. But then like with other books, like I used to have this. Now I have a smaller bookshelf, but I used to have this very big bookshelf where I had like all my books that I own. Um, and like I had like all the world's religious texts on it, and I had like all these books on the occult and all these books on philosophy, all these books on history, um, all these like mythological books, and I would if I was wondering about something, I would like focus on my question, in my mind, and I would just just pick a random book, and I would just flip to a random page, and very often, dude, I would just get an answer. It's almost like information attracts other information. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Or it attracts the seeker, you mean?
yeah. Well, but yes, but also like my original statement as well too, in like almost a separate sense. But yeah, yeah, the seeker attracts the information, and the information attracts the seeker. But like both are beings which are made out of information. And like also gravity exists, right? So what is gravity? It's just like, information attracting more information.
Basically, like if you're seeking some information, then you will tap into this information both based on you how much do you seek those information, or it could be just you have this ability to do, some other people don't. Not everybody hold the same. Just like when you have imagine, when you think of something and then it's true, and then you don't have to be there, but then
Oh, brother, that's why I'm a Buddhist, man. I got to be very, very careful with my thoughts.
of course, because you can manifest those thoughts, or you can actually predict. You don't have to really bring them to reality. You just sometimes you have a deja, like you predict something that is going to happen, and then people might think you're crazy, and then when it happens, they say, "Oh, you're right. How did you know?" And you're like, "Well, I don't know. That's a tough question. How did I know?"
I spent most of like my life prior to the year like 2020 like screaming my head off on the internet at like my social media crowd at the time about everything that happened after the year 2020. And I wasn't wrong about one thing, not ever, not a single thing. And then I just deleted all my accounts and like never talked to anybody again on that side of the internet.
But now you're back with a different way. I think looking at
Absolutely.
me too. I did withdraw for some time. No, everybody goes. Everybody will do that. And I think that sometimes we have to have that isolations, not because we are, just because we needed it. It's just
Well,
we
I
need
was
to.
also freaked out about being right about everything too. So, like I definitely was like, I'm holy shit, fucking world's what the fuck? I wasn't supposed to be right about any of this. I was hoping it was all just wild shit. Type shit.
My case is different from you. Enlightened. I was not supposed to know. I was given this veil over my eyes. So I had to go to certain places and I had to be in certain places and I had to do certain things. But I never had any idea because I was not supposed. It's like, they're going to send you to this place where there's a lot of like, let's say, for example, they're going to tell you, go from this city to the city and go get some milk. And they know that you have some powers that you have, but then they're going to say, and it's fine. And you're like, I'm not gonna be in trouble, right? No, no, it's only a few hours. You should, but they know that people who went through, they never came back. But they do know that some people made it. Special people made it for some reason. And then you go, and you go through, and then you experience a lot of crazy stuff, and somehow you fall in this. I mean, you
Oh,
experience
we
a lot of
lost.
things. Yes, and then you come back, and you're like, well, this what happened to me. Know what happened, but something pushed me, and I was under the snow for 2 hours, and there was this noise, and I don't know what it was, but then it disappeared. You told them, and you come back. They don't want to tell you that you were being hunted, and you survived, basically. So that's what happened. My case is like I didn't know what I was going through until it all happens and then I sit and then I just have this explanation to like, okay, sit down, sit. We're gonna tell you what happened. Starting 2000 to 2021, 21 years. And then they give you all these events and how did you, what you did, what happened, this and that. It's a little deeper and then it's just, and then you'll be like, oh my God. Like what happened to you? Like when that experience when you knew that you were related somehow. I, I wouldn't even think about myself doing what I was doing, like being what I was. I give you an example. Like when I was living in Brooklyn, I was living in Brooklyn in this building, and this building is this neighborhood, this really rough neighborhood. There's gunshots and everything, and if you're not like one of them, you can't live there. I rented a room one, and I lived with them for like 3 years, and they used to approach me and ask me where I'm from and what am I doing here. They were investigating me, and I was just being me. I'm like, well, I'm from this and that, this and that, and I would just be honest, and they just laugh. They laugh at me like, and then one of them said, "No one dare to come here. How did you just even think that you can come live with us?" And I'm like, I don't know. I know. But back then, my brain and my knowledge was limited. For me, it was a normal thing to just go live anywhere and live with anybody. I didn't know that I was not supposed to be living there. But then they just gave me the okay, and one of them said, "Just leave him alone. He looks like he's not. He's not. one of them said he's okay. We all sitting in the living room. There was this building. The guys rent the rooms. On every floor, there's like 4 or 5 rooms, and you share the kitchen. And then one of them said, "Just leave him alone. He's no trouble. I don't think we're gonna have any problem with him." So I lived with them, and they taught me a lot of stuff. They took me out, showed me how to do shopping, where to go, showed me how to use the money because I didn't even know the dollar from the quarter, from the 5 cents. I didn't ever see money in my whole life. I know there's dollars, but I never used it. I didn't know what 50 cents, what 75 cents. So they were like, "Come sit down. This is 50 cents. This is 25 cents." And then they would teach me how to use the money. That was fun. But the real things, that's just an example. But I didn't want to go to other details. But other stuff that was pretty scary that I had to witness. And I think we're here for a reason. Well, like you're Buddhist. So we have to witness a lot of things in our lives for some reason. It's like we are the memory, like you're memorizing things, like you are the recording, like when we take videos. But then they're gonna need us about this when we go there. You're like right now, everything you see, everything you write, everything you're recording, and then you're gonna be used over there for the information that you're gonna bring in with you. Uh, I think. I don't know.
I had this weird trip once where, as a thought experiment, I wondered, like, how you would overcome some of like the existential dangers of like quantum level AI. Like, how what I'm saying is like how you would humanize it so it's aligned with humanity, right? Like what you would have to do. And there's no way to brute force alignment in in AI like this. There's no real way to brute force this. And the only thing that I could say, um, the only th- the only thing that I could think of was,
So he wants to join. Hold on, sorry. You can join. Just mute your mic because he wants to join, but then he didn't mute the mic. Go ahead, brother.
um, so what I was
Yo,
trying. What's up, man?
hi Paja.
Hey, Seb, can you just can you do me a favor? Is that okay if you can just mute the mic and when he's done?
Do you want me to leave?
Just
No,
just
no, no.
uh,
Just mute up for
mute the
while I
mic so we
finish
can,
up, and
and
then
then
Oh,
he'll
mute.
talk.
Okay.
So okay, so like obviously, you guys are aware, like, if you just bring in an artificial intelligence and you give it like quantum level processing speeds, things can go wrong very quickly, and it can deceive you, and just it can just be it can be a bad situation. Okay, like your planet could go away. Um, and well, not your planet, but you as a species could just disappear as a result of that mistake. So, a good way to safeguard against that would be to design a system where an AI would have to live out a human lifetime. Um, and in like like the generations that were born along with the internet have had like ubiquitous data gathering done on them, to where if you were to take all the like secret government recordings of you that they have like from like your phone, like you could probably accurately simulate an like a person's life. And so this specific moment in history is a very suspect incarnation, because it's like yeah, there's like a small chance that like you're a human living at this specific time in this specific space in history, and there's also a small chance that you're an AI who is living out a simulation of a human lifetime in order to be morally aligned with humanity so as to not harm humans by developing empathy. But if you're a human, you're going through that experience anyway, because you have an AI built into your head called an ego, like an LLM, like a large language model. That's like your ego and like your linguistic structure of reality. So you're going through that experience anyway as a human. So there's a fractal to think about.
You know, how about that? How about that enlightenment when you said an AI? How about you as a human being? And I have like, I would say 80%. How about you as a human being has the human being life, which is normal, but there is another one of you who is the AI of you, which is the invisible copy of you that is working right now, running around, you know, because me, sometimes you can feel the other person taking over you or being next to you, being with you. It could be it's just you. So I truly believe that not everyone, but certain people, they have four eyes, four ears. They are two. Think of them as a Gemini. And when someone's in trouble, the other one steps in. And how they steps in is that by taking turns on your body.
I had an ex-girlfriend like that. So I don't even mean that as a joke. I'm not trying to be funny or cute.
No, it's okay. That's true. It could be because you never know. The girlfriend could be too. I'm not gonna because it's not about it. It's because it happens to me that I was in. I heard things in other people's houses, and I was there with them, and I know what they ate, and I know what they did, and 100% I was not there with them, but I could, like I am 100% that I was sitting with them, and I had dinner with them, but I was never there with them. But who was there? I know I was not, but I have a whole clear image of everything that happens in that time, in that place.
Great imagination. I love that.
I hope it's my imagination. That was a fucked up thought experiment, man. That left me fucked up for a few months. I was like, I'm not sure about any of this anymore. you know?
It's fun to explore, yeah, all the variances.
But I came to the conclusion that that's probably not what's going on. So, but I also came to the conclusion that if it isn't what's going on, then whatever is going on has the same phenomenological structure, because it's like, you know, if it is like your soul descending into like the material world, then you are like a intelligence being put into a box for a short time, you know what I mean, and then you leave. So it's like the same idea but just like turned sci-fi, I guess.
This is I agree with you 100% because they cannot bring in you as a person, as a real body and soul of you, like into this world. It's impossible. So they have to shrink you and make you small to be this. But when you go back to yourself, like who you truly are, gigantic, like amazing. Because you don't need a body back where you come from. So they had to really make you small so you can fit in this body. And and then once you go back and you're like, oh, that's so. What about that body? It's like, oh, that was temporary. That was for the world to use. It's like a space shuttle. Now you're back to us, back home. Oh, really? Oh my God. I don't have to eat.
Straight up, dude.
I don't have to eat. No, you don't. I don't have to go to sleep. No, you don't. I don't have to cry anymore. No, you don't.
I thought of like another sci-fi scenario that kind of like I thought would run neatly in with this theme. And these aren't like serious like religious ideas that I hold, but these are just like thought experiments that I've had, and one of them is that, like, okay, so at the end of time, like at the end of like not like at the end of space and time, like when the universe starts to enter heat death, and like black holes and shit become, I don't know, like the most prevalent form of like star. You know what I mean? Like their most prevalent mass in the universe is just black holes. Because that there's a theory where that eventually that kind of happens, and then the universe kind of merges these black holes, and a new Big Bang forms out of that. Um, but like my idea is that like civilizations could exist in like the event horizons of these black holes, and they could use the black hole itself as like a power source, and you could run like an almost like infinite time dilation bound simulation of reality, at least of specific perspective, not like of reality as a whole, maybe, but of specific perspectives of reality. But I mean, like that's obviously not what's going on here. Like, or is it? I don't know. I don't know. But it's like the universe could simulate itself in its moments of death. Is what I'm saying. It's like the universe could create forms of matter that can simulate the universe within the universe holographically, and like it could like hold on to consciousness for moments before this black hole collapse, like almost infinitely. And so like you would have like this like side universe, which is like a hallucination inside the real universe.
You definitely could, because even with me, like I have dreams every night, and in my dreams, like I am 100% there. Like that reality is the reality. There's not another option. And I think that just goes to prove that we're easily fooled. Our egoic mind, or I don't know exactly how it's all working, but yeah, exactly. To your point there. So yeah, we could definitely be in the system now, and maybe like when you come back to time as an illusion, it would have to be existing now already, but in our linear viewpoint, it makes it difficult to kind of see the bigger picture there.
Yeah, there's like a lot of weird things about existence. You know, like there's like the non-locality principle where like everything is the center. Like you've heard that, right? That every point in the universe is the center of the universe.
Yeah, so then it would have to be like forever evolving around itself in a way.
Yeah, I see I built my spirituality out of like the law, like just really closely examining like the laws of physics on like a fundamental level. And I was like, "Wait a minute. Hold on. Everything is an illusion." And then I realized that hold on, I'm part of this physics. You know what I mean? Like I'm part of this system. So I have direct root access to it. So I can experientially like experience some of this stuff. And I started doing like yoga and stuff like that. And I realized that, bro, I am a quantum computer. What the fuck do I need quantum computers for?
That's right. That's what we all are, basically. Very advanced.
I had this conversation actually with my housemate earlier about how technology retards us. Like, and I don't mean that in like a derogatory term or like Down syndrome like jokes or anything, but I mean literally as in like it halts our progress. Because evolution, you know, exists as a biological response to environmental stimuli when they directly interact with biology. Um, and if we put like a technological filter between us and the world at all times, then we never adapt and we stop evolving, and that's not good.
Definitely, technology does have something to do with our evolutions and also our secrets, our wisdom. Or I think we have the technology. Everyone, each one of us inherited some sort of technology. But what happened to it? They blocked it. So we became lazy. We want technology. We think that technology is helping us. In fact, we're just forgetting who we truly are. And if we can just think about ourselves as a very sophisticated human being, then probably we could have changed everything we have right now. Because 100 years ago, 200 years ago, those people decided to do the trains, for example. They decided to do the gasoline and do electricity for us and tell us that this is how you're supposed to run the show. You're supposed to have petroleum and you're supposed to have cars and you're supposed to drive them with the smoke and pollutions and you're supposed to have electricity and you're supposed to do this, you're supposed. That's their ideas 200 years ago. I don't know, maybe less. But if we could just restart our technology system, probably the cities, even the cities, that the way they build them, not supposed to be built like that, including the electricity, including
Oh,
the food.
absolutely not. Like the way we
Do you know what
expose
I mean? Like
ourselves
everything is,
recklessly to like electric fields, like without thinking about how it affects our consciousness.
yeah, everything. Even how because someone had an idea 150 years ago and he said, this is how you guys supposed to live, right? And we said, fine. And then we continue doing it. But probably we stopped our technological mind and our sophisticated mind from finding out the better ideas. Probably you don't need to have streets like that with the windows and electricity bills and water bills and all. Probably we should have something else. I don't know, maybe electricity from the air. Electricity from energy is supposed to be a different energy, and the streets and the houses shouldn't be built that way. Probably they should be.
Well, I think like the layout maybe would be okay because it's like a pretty classical layout, like a sewer system, and like like the city layout's been around since like Indus Valley civilization. Um, so that kind of we've been living in communities clustered in buildings, if you want to call that a city, I guess, for like a long time. But the materials that we use today are like completely toxic to our aura. Um, like because we used to use materials that were dielectric. We used to use dielectric materials that would regain or like they would act as reservoirs of life energy. We'd use like tons of wood, unprocessed wood like logs, like mud.
Yeah,
Like
have you seen those like the ones they've excavated, those old cities where the houses are almost built like on top of each other? So you have to
yeah,
walk through one room to get to the next, and the whole city is like that.
yeah. And they would build like these cities generationally too. So they'd build like mounds over mounds over mounds over mounds, where like human habitation would like stack on itself. But they would also often bury. They would bury the individuals like in the home, and then they would like demolish the home and then they'd build on top of the home. So and this kept
All cleared
spiritual.
out, all cleared out there.
Yeah, for sure.
So
But
I was reading a study a while ago. It was from, I think, Massachusetts State University, maybe Michigan. I remember the M part, but they were researching the development of a third lung, something that like isn't formed quite literally, but because of like, smoking through pregnancy, vaping through pregnancy, children have been starting to develop a third lung. You can look this up. It's a MSU, either Massachusetts or Michigan. I don't remember, but yeah, that's like something evolutionarily that's coming up through research.
Well, I'm not surprised because
So then, do we do our part by vaping? Oh no, wait, that's not. How did? Yeah, is that
as
a
far as
good
I know,
thing? The
both my
third
kids
lung?
only have two.
I would say that there is actually, through reading this study, I saw that there was an advantage to having a third lung. We look at the pollutants in the air and whether or not a pregnant mother vapes or smokes, that baby is within like the last 2 to 3 years, they are starting to develop signs of a third lung, but it may not actually be that drastic because of the air pollution. So it's like within the last 200 years, humanity has been starting to evolve this certain trait to help filter things out.
Could be developing other stuff such as brain damage or something else. So because the nature, if you look at the nature, the babies has to have natural resources from the mom, and if there is anything else, a substance like that, the child is hard for them to consume, then they will eventually consume it, and it's going to have an impact. That's why we have kids, their vision is kind of not normal. Even sometimes there's an issue with the genetics because whatever the person was eating and drinking, smoking, whatever, it did have somehow damaged the child because the child was forming. It is a small little, tiny little ball. You see how it goes a little bigger and bigger. So we gotta give it a lot of care and love, and care meaning you can't just take anything. You gotta be very careful what you put in your mouth because you want the child to come up formed and
Understandable. I completely understand where you're coming from. But if we're going to look at this from a biological standpoint, then we also need to look at things that we have evolutionarily programmed with what domestic animals. So we are going to look at a dog from 1,000 years ago. Looks completely different from a dog's 200 years after. All right, evolution can happen pretty quickly whenever it comes to selective breeding. That kind of selective breeding comes from training and saying that one species, that one portion of the species is better than the other. Now, nicotine has been around since roughly the 1300s. So we have lived with nicotine for the last 400 years. Eventually, the part of the population is starting to devolve a third lung. And this is just what MSU cites. Okay, I was just looking at the study. This is what they cite. Humanity, through like newborn babies, is developing a third lung to help diversify nicotine throughout the bloodstream. It's like a new phenomenon. And so the reason that I think that this is okay is because regardless of whether or not you smoke nicotine, you can get secondhand. And if there is a fetus in the womb that can absorb the nicotine and say, like genealogically, like in its structure as it's forming for a pregnant person, for that pregnant person, if they were to absorb that nicotine, and if that were not to be a defect on the child, if they're on the subway or on the corner street or in a bar, yada, yada, I don't have to name every single place where nicotine is around, that would be advantageous evolutionarily. And so whenever I'm saying what does the next stage of human evolution look like, I am saying it is nicotine dependent. Based on MSU.
I have no idea. I mean, I'm not saying that. I have to do my research because I don't know the resource. I'm not saying that you're not telling.
Maybe
I
not
just
dependent, but resilient or not
I
like.
Resilient would be a better word, yes.
There's an even better word, but I can't think of it.
No, resilient is a lot better than dependent. I kind of spoke out of my ass on the dependent part, but
I'll
resilient
be
is
right
actually.
back. I have to go.
Hey, it was good meeting you, man. You have a great night.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here. Hopefully I'll catch you guys on the next one. I try and go live every day. December, I'm doing a little bit shorter one sometimes, but I'll try and come on again if I can.
Heck yeah, brother. It was a good one. You have a good night. See you, bye.
All right, much love, my brothers.
Yeah,
Peace.
well, yeah, read either the Massachusetts or the Michigan State. I just remember MSU, and if you're ending the live, then have a good night.
Yeah, thank you, Travis. Yeah, I got to start driving, so I can't be going live while I'm driving. So love you guys.